What's going on? This is Julian from The True Nerd, and we are back from GDC 2025, where I had a chance to check out the new game Crimson Desert from Pearl Abyss and their new proprietary game engine, BlackSpace. Now, you can kind of see some gameplay in the background, and I will be overlaying some gameplay as I speak. But I have to say, what Pearl Abyss is doing with the BlackSpace engine is special. It's very, very cool. And it really had me ask the question, why aren't other studios doing this? And I do have a few answers to that, but actually I'll jump right in. So after seeing this demo, at the end of the demo, the PR person, Will, actually took me to the Steam page and showed me the minimum requirements to play this open world action game. And it was 16 gigs of RAM, a Ryzen 5 2600X, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, I'll put that on the screen, and a 1060, an NVIDIA 1060 graphics card. And for how good this game looks and the things that are happening in this game, that is very, very impressive. And even when you get up to the recommended specs, you're only jumping up to an RTX 2080, if I'm not mistaken. And taking into consideration that we're at the 50 series of cards, I can only imagine what it would look like there. So right away, we're kind of brought to this platform in the middle of the sky, and I'm told that anything we see, we can jump down to it. And the demoist jumped right off of that pad, and we're flying down, getting more detail as we get closer to the ground, and then we stop. We kind of just look around and look at the trees, the vegetation, the architecture, and things were just looking really, really amazing. We hit the ground, and the first thing we're kind of looking at is the wind blowing the cloth of your clothing, the vegetation that's on the ground, the trees, and you're not seeing a lot of clipping when it comes to your hair or your clothing against your weapons, your horse. We kind of move forward, and this may be one of the most impressive things, but it's their water physics and the way that works. The first thing we did, kind of sat down in the water with the horse, and when we sat down, only the parts of the horse that were touching the water were wet. We got out the water, those parts were still wet. They kind of dried over time. You just saw that shine, and then you saw the water moving with you. And they showed me, they turned off those water physics, and the water looked good, but it just looked like any other game. When they turned that on, that's what really separated this game from the rest. You could see again how that wind, how the tide is impacting that water, how that water is kind of pulling up on different rocks. Very, very cool. Then we got into combat. Things felt weighty, tactile. Again, when you're kind of in battle, your hair, your clothing, the movement is great. No clipping, no anything. And then they had these really cool things. So we were in this space, and there was a door, and normally you would think that door would be destructible, but in this game, it wouldn't be destructible until it was impacted by fire. And I think that was really cool how the elements and different things that you're doing in battle can impact the way the environment interacts with you. We froze some enemies, shattered them, saw those particle effects. Really, really cool. I think this game is really impressive, and I know a proprietary engine is not cheap. It takes time, it takes labor, it takes money, but I think the amount of fidelity that we're seeing on this level of hardware, and I'm sure that what they were showing me was a little bit beefier, but just being able to play the game and that accessibility to all, I think is really, really cool. And before I forget, and I think I have some B-roll of this, just the character kind of flowing through some fog, and how that fog followed the body. Again, the way that the character interacts with the environment. And then on top of all of this, you have ray tracing. Yeah, I just really can't wait for this game to be available in later 2025. Just so you know, this will be available on PC and console. Yeah, so like I said, if you enjoyed Black Desert, Crimson Desert, maybe something that you need to keep an eye out for, stay tuned for more content from GDC. Thanks to Pearl Abyss for taking the time, and we'll see you next time.